A mochi moment from Mark, who writes, I just want to thank you for making GLP-1s affordable. What would have been over $1,000 a month is just $99 a month with Mochi. Money shouldn't be a barrier to healthy weight. 3 months in, and I have smaller jeans and a bigger wallet. You're the best. Thanks, Mark. I'm Myra Ahmed, founder of Mochi Health. To find your Mochi moment, visit joinmochi.com.
Mark is a Mochi member compensated for his story.
At DSW, we ask the important questions, like, what shoes are you going to wear? Whether you're prepping for wedding season, festival season, or just planning the ultimate vacay, the right shoes can make or break an RSVP. So own the moment. You've got big plans, and we've got just the shoes. At the perfect price, of course. Get ready to get ready with Designer Shoe Warehouse. Head to your DSW store or DSW.com today and let us surprise you.
Voices for Justice is a podcast that uses adult language and discusses sensitive and potentially triggering topics, including violence, abuse, and murder. This podcast may not be appropriate for younger audiences. All parties are innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Some names have been changed or omitted per their request or for safety purposes. Listener discretion is advised. My name is Sarah Turney, and this is Voices for Justice. Today, I'm telling you about the case of a 14-year-old girl from Cleveland who left a party at her uncle's house on the 4th of July in 2007 and never made it home. This is the case of Ashley Summers. Ashley's been described as a typical teenager. Sweet but strong, and loved watching horror movies with her mom, Jennifer. She also spent a lot of time with her 5 younger siblings at their home on the west side of Cleveland, Ohio. While Ashley's dad was never really in her life, she does have a huge extended family. Tons of cousins, more than 10 aunts and uncles, and of course her grandparents. And Ashley was the first baby in the family, so she was absolutely adored by all the adults and eventually younger siblings and cousins. But as Ashley's 14th birthday approached in the summer of 2007, her family noticed her talking back a little bit more, becoming a little bit more rebellious like a lot of teenagers. She also started dating a 16-year-old boy named Gene who she met in the neighborhood, and Ashley's mom did not approve. In her interview with Disappeared, she explains that she just thought Ashley was too young to be dating, even after she turned 14 in June. So Ashley does what a lot of teenagers do, and instead of not seeing her boyfriend, she just hides it. Or at least she tries to hide it. She begins sneaking Gene into the house while her mom's at work. But again, Ashley does have 5 younger siblings, so of course Jennifer finds out. Ashley also begins to start stealing money from her mom. At first, Jennifer says it was just small amounts that she basically let slide. But then Ashley took all the money in her drawer, basically Jennifer's entire paycheck. Then she comes home with a tattoo on her arm of a heart and her boyfriend Gene's name. Jennifer is understandably upset, and it's clear that Ashley does not plan to stop seeing Gene anytime soon despite her wishes. So Jennifer decides to send Ashley to live with her maternal grandma for the rest of the summer. Ashley loves her grandma, and Jennifer's hoping that she'll listen to her, and that maybe a little bit of distance would keep her away from her boyfriend. It was only 4 miles away, but it seems like Gene didn't have a car, so that distance did seem to be enough to make it work for a little bit, or at least slow things down a bit. But while Ashley was technically staying at her grandma's house, she did bounce around between her aunts and uncles' homes too, and mostly spent a good amount of time at her Uncle Kevin's house. This seems to be the gathering spot for the family, especially the younger cousins. And according to Ashley's family, Kevin was known to spoil Ashley. But Ashley does also ask her Aunt Deborah if she can come live with her. Deborah does agree, but the plan never really happens. During this time, Jennifer is trying to give Ashley some space. She does check up on her about every other day as Ashley bounces around that summer. During the last week of June, she even sees Ashley in person at her Aunt Christina's house. And the week after that was the 4th of July. And this is a really special holiday for Ashley's family. Not just to celebrate America's Independence Day, but it was also her Uncle Keith's birthday. Every year on the 4th, they'd have a big party with all the family to celebrate. And 2007 was no exception. On the 4th, Ashley walks about 2 miles from her Uncle Kevin's house to her Uncle Keith's house to celebrate. Ashley comes alone. And from what I could find, it doesn't look like her mom or siblings attended this party for some reason. When Ashley gets there, she's visibly upset, but they don't really know why. Ashley is 14, she's going through a lot right now, so it may just be kind of par for the course at this point. But Ashley does eventually shake it off and enjoys the party. She jumps in the pool with her cousins, they're dancing, they're laughing, she's eating. Everything seems fine. After a few hours, at about 6 p.m., Ashley decides to call it a day. She makes her rounds, telling everybody goodbye, and says that she plans to walk to her Aunt Christina's house. It's only a few blocks away, about a 10-minute walk. But Ashley never makes it to her Aunt Christina's house. On July 6, Jennifer tries to reach out to Ashley to check in, but she can't get a hold of her. She calls around to the family, Ashley's aunts and uncles, but no one has seen her. But when Jennifer reaches out to Ashley's Uncle Kevin, she realizes why Ashley might have been upset at that party. Kevin says that he saw Ashley the morning before the party, and he says that they got into a fight. Apparently, Ashley was engaging in some type of family gossip on her cell phone. Kevin tells her to stop, Ashley ignores him, and Kevin grabs her cell phone and breaks it. So we don't know for sure, but this is probably why Ashley was upset at the party. But now it's been 2 days and no one has seen her. So Jennifer goes to the police station to file a missing persons report. They ask her some questions, and Jennifer explains the situation. Them arguing, her boyfriend, Ashley's uncle, the phone. And we know what police said. They tell her to hold tight, they're sure that Ashley's just upset and she'll probably be home soon. So we have a 14-year-old who has been missing for 2 days, and the investigation falls on her family. Without any help from police, Ashley's family creates and prints some flyers, and they get to work putting them up all around town. Really, around the areas that Ashley was known to be. Her grandma's, again, her aunts and uncles, her mom's house, anywhere they can think of. Now, at this point, many of Ashley's family members assume that she's probably somewhere with her boyfriend. And it makes sense. Ashley is forbidden to see her boyfriend, but she's madly in love, gets this tattoo. It does seem natural to think that she could be with her boyfriend. But at first, they don't really outright ask him. They just start putting up flyers around his house too. Their hope is that Ashley and Jean see these flyers and realize how serious the issue is. But then, as they're putting up these flyers, they notice that someone is taking them down shortly after. They immediately assume that it's Ashley or Jean, or both of them. And it does give them some hope. At this point, Jennifer even starts following Jean to see if he'll lead her to Ashley. One night, Jean walks into an abandoned house, and Jennifer reports it to police, hopeful that maybe Ashley is staying there. But after a search, there's no trace of Ashley. Eventually, the police do take the time to ask Jean what he knows about Ashley. He explains that he last saw her a few days before the 4th of July. He and his dad dropped her off at her Uncle Kevin's house. But after that, Jean was out of the area for a family reunion. He says when he got back, Ashley was gone. A few weeks after Ashley goes missing, her mom gets a phone call from an unknown number. Luckily, she was on her break at her job, so she was able to answer. And the caller says that they're Ashley, that they're fine. But they hang up before Jennifer can say anything. In her interview with Disappeared, Jennifer says that she immediately began telling the family that Ashley called and that she was okay. But in other interviews with a variety of news outlets, it seems that the hope she had quickly soured, as she began to believe it was not Ashley who called.
Insurance isn't one size fits all. That's why customers have enjoyed Progressive's Name Your Price tool for years now. With the Name Your Price tool, you tell them what you want to pay, and they'll show you options that fit your budget. So whether you're picking out your first policy or just looking for something that works better for you and your family, they make it easy to see your options. Visit Progressive.com. Find a rate that works for you with the Name Your Price tool. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law.
This episode of Voices for Justice is brought to you by Quince. I've been trying to be more intentional about what I wear each day. I'm leaning into pieces that feel effortless, comfortable, and still put together. And Quince has been my go-to. The fabrics feel elevated, the fits are flattering, and everything just works without overthinking it. They use premium materials like 100% European linen, organic cotton, and ultra-soft denim. And the best part? Everything is priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. They work directly with ethical factories and cut out the middlemen, so you're paying for quality and craftsmanship, not brand markup. I recently just ordered their tiered linen dress, of course in black. I wanted to pair it with one of my favorite pairs of brown wedges. The problem was, I didn't have a brown purse. So I got that from Quince too. It's one of my favorite outfits. It's easy, effortless, and feels amazing, especially as we're getting a little bit warmer here in Phoenix. Refresh your everyday with luxury you'll actually use. Head to quince.com/justice for free shipping on your order and 365-day returns. Now available in Canada too. That's QUINCE.com/justice for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/justice. This episode of Voices for Justice is sponsored by Chewy. If you have pets, you probably know about Chewy, and you also know that when they say that they have everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy, they're not messing around. To keep them happy, Chewy has over 100,000 products from all the brands my pets love at prices I love. To keep them healthy, Chewy offers pet prescriptions, pet insurance, telehealth vet visits, and they're even rolling out vet clinics across the country. I've been shopping with them for a very long time. And in addition to the auto ship feature that gets the dog's food to them every single month, I also love to experiment with different treats. But I'm a bit picky. For me, it has to be high quality with simple ingredients. I recently picked up treats from Shepherd Boy Farms that are 100% just chicken breast. Popcorn and Heber are already obsessed. Chewy has everything you need to keep your pet happy and healthy. And right now, you can save $20 on your first order and get free shipping by going to chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. That's chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney to save $20 on your first order with free shipping. chewpanions.chewy.com/Sarah E. Turney. Minimum purchase required. New customers only. Terms and conditions apply. See site for complete details. The summer of 2007 ends, and school starts up again without Ashley. But her case does begin to gain at least some momentum. The Ohio Attorney General's office helped share her flyer. Not long after this, in November, Ashley's grandparents are driving down the street when they do a double take. They see a young girl that looks just like Ashley. Well, at least what they've been told she may look like now. They'd gotten a tip that Ashley may have cut her hair and dyed it blonde. The girl they see does have short blonde hair. And apparently, according to them, her face is a complete match for Ashley's. They said they were only going about 25 miles an hour, and they were sure this was their granddaughter. So they book it, they turn around, and they go back to speak to this girl. But she's gone. They're devastated. Always wondering if maybe that was Ashley. The holidays come and go without Ashley there. A noticeable absence for the entire family. And really, there's almost no movement in the case until May 2008, when the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children reaches out to the FBI to take a look. This is when the FBI begins to consider that Ashley's disappearance may be linked to two other girls in the area. 16-year-old Amanda Berry, who went missing in April 2003, and 14-year-old Gina De Jesus, who went missing in 2004. All three went missing from West Cleveland, were close in age, and at one point, they even all attended the same school. So they basically start the investigation into what happened to Ashley from scratch, the FBI begins re-interviewing people, with a heavy focus on the older males in the family as well as Jean. Polygraph tests are administered, but the FBI never releases those results. They start going door to door, and with permission, searching many of the homes and properties in the area. They also look into sex offenders and really anybody with a criminal history in the area. But they come up short. They also finally try to trace that call from Ashley. But it had been too long, and Jennifer wasn't able to remember the date. And really, it doesn't seem to have gone any further. Now, this really becomes this huge task force for all three girls. And in June, Ashley's case is officially relabeled as an endangered juvenile. Though the FBI does tell the media that they still haven't found any indication of foul play. Unfortunately, despite these efforts, they don't find Ashley. In the summer of 2012, she would have turned 18, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children releases an age-progressed photo of her. About a year later, her family is floored and has more hope than ever when there's a breakthrough on the two other cases the FBI was investigating alongside Ashley's. Amanda Berry and Gina De Jesus are found on May 6, 2013. Along with them is a third woman whose identity is not released immediately. And all of these women were found in a home less than 2 miles away from Ashley's uncle's house, where her family last saw her. They have every reason to hold out hope that this third woman is Ashley, and they wait for hours to get confirmation. But it wasn't Ashley. The third woman was Michelle Knight, who has since changed her name to Lily Rose. She went missing in 2002 when she was 21, but unlike Amanda and Gina, no one reported her missing. All three were being held captive by a man named Ariel Castro, who did horrific things to them. If you want to learn more about their stories, I highly recommend supporting them directly and reading the books that they've all written. I'll have links in the episode description for you. But of course, there was still hope that maybe Ariel Castro knew something about Ashley. The FBI did speak to him about her case, and there didn't appear to be any connection. Gina, Amanda, and Lily Rose all denied knowing anything about Ashley too. And while there were rumors that Ashley's name or initials were found in Castro's basement, the FBI has dispelled this rumor. So, without any real connection to Ashley, I am hesitant to go into a solved case in this episode. But Castro was sentenced to life in prison and died by suicide 4 months into his sentence. There is a silver lining, though. This generated a lot of media for Ashley's case, and is definitely one of the most discussed aspects of it, given how little information we actually know. Ashley's grandmother goes on Anderson Cooper that same year to talk about her, and her case is picked up by more media outlets who dubbed Ashley as the girl who was not found in the light of others. The next movement we see in the case is in 2015, when a picture of a woman who was wanted for credit card fraud in Rhode Island begins to circulate. While Jennifer's not quite sure that it is Ashley, many other members of the family and police do think it's her. Her family even goes on the Dr. Phil show, who brings one of their experts on, and they tell them that based on their science, there's an 80% chance that the woman in the picture is Ashley. But it's not. But our heroes at the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children do not stop being innovative with Ashley's case. They make a video about her, and specifically about her tattoo, asking if any artists in the area may have seen it or covered it up at some point. I mean, I do think the likelihood of getting your boyfriend's name tattooed on you when you're 14 and getting it covered up later on is pretty high. But unfortunately, no one comes forward. July 2017 marked 10 years that Ashley had been gone, and there's a new age-progressed photo showing what she might look like at age 24. Then, in 2018, Ashley's case gets the biggest media break yet. She's featured on an episode of Disappeared, and this causes a flood of new leads for the FBI, and they announce what they called a case review and interview surge, directly crediting Ashley's feature on the show, Because we know media pressure moves mountains. It really does, you guys. And by November, things really heat up. The FBI says that they have new leads in the case, though they don't exactly share what those leads are. But they say that once again, they're going back to square one in Ashley's case. They're breaking it apart, re-interviewing people, and getting new information. They begin canvassing West Cleveland again, and put a lot of manpower behind this. They have over 30 agents on it. Then they announce that they're searching Ashley's Uncle Kevin's old home, the home she was at the morning of the party when he broke her phone. Special Agent Vicki Anderson explains that Ashley was known to be here, and they want to take a look. It's been a while, and now the house does have a new set of residents, but they're completely cooperative. The FBI essentially removes everything from the house and puts it into a big U-Haul. I assume this is to look for any evidence that may be lingering on the floors, walls, or just the bones of the house. We don't know exactly what was found, but in December, Ashley's Uncle Kevin is arrested and charged with rape.
What they did to your family, you're lucky to make it out alive.
Streaming on Peacock.
These men are going to come after me. Taking them out is my only chance.
Put a bullet in her head.
From the co-creator of Ozark.
Looks like a family was running drugs.
Execution-style killing, it's rare for the keys. Any leads on who they might have been running for?
The cartel killed my family. I'm gonna kill them. All of them.
MIA. Streaming now. Only on Peacock.
Mom, can you tell me a story?
Sure. Once upon a time, a mom needed a new car.
Was she brave?
She was tired, mostly. But she went to Carvana.com and found a great car at a great price. No secret treasure map required.
Did she have to fight a dragon?
Nope. She bought it 100% online. From her bed, actually.
Was it scary?
Honey, it was as unscary as car buying could be.
Did the car have a sunroof?
It did, actually.
Okay, good story.
Car buying you'll want to tell stories about. Buy your car today on
Carvana.
Delivery fees may apply.
According to the FBI, Kevin Donathan was actively abusing young children. He initially pleaded not guilty to charges of rape, attempted rape, and 5 counts of gross sexual imposition, though he did later change his plea to guilty and was sentenced to 35 years in prison in February 2020. He was never named a suspect in Ashley's case. The next year, in 2021, another search was conducted in relation to Ashley, but after searching for 2 hours, they only found animal bones. While I have found some reports that vaguely mention other searches, nothing has come from them. Over the years, the FBI has made many statements about searches, where Ashley may have been last seen, where they want the public to look, but these really bounce around all over the place. I found so many different dates and locations, though most areas they do mention are in West Cleveland. Some reports say that she was seen a few days after the 4th, but there's no explanation attached. And then I'll see the dates change across different reporting. So while it does seem possible and likely that Ashley was spotted after the 4th, I can't tell you where or on which date. In July 2023, they believe that Ashley was last seen on July 8th in the area of West 44th Street in Towbridge. But a few weeks before this episode airs, they asked the public to now focus in the Pittsburgh area. And that's pretty much where Ashley's case is today. So, what happened to Ashley Summers? Well, in the latest reporting that I could find, the FBI says that they're still considering all possibilities. Since Ashley's phone was broken on the morning of the 4th, no information was gathered from that. And while the FBI does say that there have been sightings of Ashley after this date, all activity on her social media stopped on the 4th, which her family says is very telling given how much she enjoyed being on MySpace basically 24/7. Ashley's boyfriend Gene maintains his innocence, and her Uncle Kevin has still never been named a suspect, though of course his charges are obviously extremely concerning. If Ariel Castro was involved, we may never know. Unfortunately, Ashley's case being treated as a simple runaway absolutely hindered evidence collection early on, like tracing that phone call. It's also extremely worth noting that when Ashley went missing, Cleveland was in hot water for not keeping up with best practices when it came to missing person investigations. They didn't even have a dedicated unit. But they did eventually institute some changes, like creating that unit and entering information into databases. It's definitely not the improvement I was looking for, but it's a start. Like I always say, we don't know what happened to Ashley, but I do know that she's dearly missed. In probably one of the most heart-wrenching videos I have ever watched in true crime, her younger sister Vicky made a plea for her to come home, showing each of Ashley's siblings with signs expressing how much they love and miss her, including a new sister Ashley's never met. It really does seem like their last hope is for the public to help. In July 2024, FBI Cleveland Special Agent Christy McCaskill told WKYC News, quote, "This is still very much an active investigation. We still hope to bring resolution to Ashley's family, and I believe the only way we're going to be able to do that, at this point, is through tips. And the only way to generate those tips is by getting Ashley's story out to the public. I am certain there are individuals out there who we have not spoken to yet. If someone believes they saw Ashley or knows where she may be, we welcome all tips." End quote. Which brings me right to our call to action. No surprise here, I'm going to ask you to share Ashley's case just like Agent McCaskill asked. We've seen how media sparked movement in the past. Maybe we can make that happen again. Please share. As a reminder, Ashley Summers was 14 years old when she went missing from Cleveland, Ohio on July 4th, 2007. She is white, with brown hair and blue eyes. At the time of her disappearance, she was 5 foot 5 inches tall and weighed approximately 130 pounds. She has a tattoo of the name Jean in black over a red heart on her upper right arm. If you have any information about Ashley's case, please contact the FBI Cleveland office at 216-522-1400. Or you can submit a tip online anonymously at Tips.FBI.Gov. Crime Stoppers is also offering reward money in this case. You can submit tips there by calling 216-25-CRIME. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time. Voices for Justice is hosted and produced by me, Sarah Turney, and is a Voices for Justice media original. If you love what we do here, please don't forget to follow, rate, and review the show in your podcast player. It's an easy and free way to help us and help more people find these cases in need of justice. Welcome to the Secret After Show. The door is open, the dogs are in. Let's talk about Ashley's case. Of course, number one on my list is treating this case like a runaway. And it's hard, right? I know we talk about this a lot, but it's hard to balance those statistics of most kids come home with some of them don't. And in this case, especially, all that evidence that could have been collected early on that was not, including searching her uncle's home. It's just always really hard to see. And of course, it's also about tracing that call. They waited so long that Jennifer wasn't sure what day it came on. It was a little fuzzy, the details there. They didn't really go into depth about it and what I could find in the reporting, just that she made that call, and Jennifer wasn't able to find the date later on, so they weren't able to trace it. It's hard. I could argue both sides, really, that most kids come home and then show you all these cases we talk about all the time where all this evidence is missed early on. And who knows, maybe it would have been nothing, but it could have been something. The next thing I wanted to talk about in this case was just that when I was going through all these news reports over the years, it was like such a breath of fresh air that these law enforcement statements, or these statements from law enforcement officials, I should say, were so caring and empathetic. Like every time I read one of these quotes, it left me feeling like they care. And I'm not saying like law enforcement doesn't care or they have to be this way in the media. I think we've just had a few cases back to back, or at least it feels that way, where I'm talking about the law enforcement agents like battling people in the media or, saying these shocking statements or whatever it may be. And everything I was pulling up in this case was like, or like 90% of it, was so kind and caring and empathetic. And my example I have for you here is that, as they're looking for leads over the years, an agent came forward and said, listen, you're not wasting our time. You're not wasting resources. You are not bothering us. Please, if you know anything, the smallest thing that you think may help, let us know. And I love that. I do understand why some agencies in the past have said, hey, we're not looking for this type of information. I do think that there are circumstances where that's valid. But I love to see some agents who are like, give us everything. I don't care what it is. I want to hear it. I want to analyze it. I want to put it into some timeline or spreadsheet to, compare and contrast against other things to try to solve this. I love that. So shout out to all of the law enforcement agents who were just so kind and caring and empathetic in all their media interviews. I love to see it. Kind of the opposite of that, I also had Mr. Dr. Phil on my list because, ooh, I can't with junk science. And I'm sure I did not watch the episode. I'm not gonna lie, I am not a Dr. Phil watcher. But from what I could tell, this segment was just highly irresponsible. It's one thing to provide that resource to law enforcement to analyze this. It is entirely another thing to put this family on TV, put an expert next to them, show this photo of this woman from the surveillance next to a photo of Ashley, and say there is an 80% chance this is your loved one. An 80% chance. The hope that creates in families is a responsibility that cannot be taken lightly. And to do that to them broke my heart. The last thing I wanted to say in relation to Ashley's case specifically is just I want to send love to Vicky and maybe any of her other siblings or family members that may listen now, in the future, whatever. I just feel for you. And that video from one little sister of a missing older sister to another, I just send you all the love. This next part kind of has to do with Ashley's case, kind of not. And I'm going to try not to get emotional because that obviously made me emotional, and so does this next topic. And I'm talking about Lily Rose, who formerly had the name Michelle Knight. When I hear her story, it shreds my heart every single time. And I kind of just wanted to honor that here in the after show. I didn't want to get into it too much in the episode. And of course, I'm not going to get into details about what happened to her, in terms of what Ariel Castro did to her. But I don't think I get so emotional when I talk about Lily Rose because of what she went through. And I don't mean the torture, which of course was awful. What I mean is her being the first one in that house, not being reported missing, and knowing that no one was out there looking for her. And when she was found, what happened after that. She didn't have anyone. Lily Rose, my sister, kids in the foster care system, they are why I will always pick up a true crime case, even if it doesn't have a family member attached. If I can't find a family member to give me consent to cover the story, I'll still cover it. Of course, I do try to look for the families, I try to get them involved, but if I can't, and it's clear that there's not a big spokesperson for them in the media, they haven't been around for a few years, that's why I will cover those cases. Lily Rose, you deserved so much better. On to what's going on with me. I literally have nothing written on this segment. I've just been working a lot. I will say, I want to say thank you to everyone who has been sending me House of the Dragon TikToks and memes. I am so excited for the finale, and that's what I've been doing, is working a lot, trying to finalize some things, and then getting lost in House of the Dragon. So not very exciting updates over here, but that is the honest truth of what's going on. I don't want to make something up. And this is when I consider moving the segment about me. I feel like there's always this like weird gap where because I'm like genuinely emotional, right? Like when I talk about these cases, I am genuinely emotional, and it is hard for me to make that transition into like what's going on with me. Like it just, I don't know. So I might have to work that out better in the future, because it's starting to feel, I don't know, a little weird. Maybe I start with what's going on with me, and then I talk about the case, and then we end on the segment of hope. Maybe that's a better structure. Let me know what you think. Because especially in this case, I'm moving on to our segment of hope, which talks about Lily Rose. So yeah, let me know what you think. I would love to know, because I am looking for a way to change that up. Now, this comes from Spectrum News 1, and it does talk about Lily Rose. The title is 10 Years After Rescue, Cleveland Kidnapping Survivor Starts Animal Rescue. Her husband, Miguel Rodriguez, says that animals are now her passion, and he apparently even got her into birds. So basically, let me back up. Sorry, I'm like so excited for this happy segment of hope. So together, this couple, Lily Rose Lee, I should say, and her husband, started the nonprofit Unleashed Animal Rescue, and they just help pets find loving homes. I think it's so sweet. And she does talk about how, Ariel Castro did inspire this mission, actually. He says that he killed an animal in front of her. And that day, she decided that she was going to make an animal rescue someday and call it Unleashed Animal Rescue. She says it was inspired because she wanted them to feel, she wouldn't want them to feel caged all the time. She would want them to feel free and have a second chance at life. It's just so sweet, you guys. I'm getting so emotional. So according to this article, I'm so sorry I did not give you the date. I suck. May 6, 2023. So this is, a year ago, but definitely still valid, I think. So at this point, she says that she has 30 animals that they're helping find forever homes, including tortoises, frogs, chameleons, bunnies, and chicks. I am absolutely going to make a donation to this organization, and if you would like to as well, you can find them at unleashedanimalrescue.org. I just love this. Like, healing through helping is how I heal too, and granted, I did not go through anything near what she went through, but it just, I love to see it. I love seeing healing through helping, through art. If you guys know, I worked with kids in foster care, and a big thing I did every summer with them was drive them to this nonprofit arts camp where they could express themselves. Some kids did theater, some did art. There was all sorts of things you could do. And it's so cool. I love seeing people just channel things, that grief or trauma or whatever it is, into some type of artistic expression, whether it be an animal rescue, through art, or through making this podcast. So that's why it makes our segment of hope. I know that it's not bringing somebody home, but it is healing and helping not only Lily Rose Lee, but all these animals too. I don't know. For me, that inspires hope. And I hope it does for you too. But as always, thank you, I love you, and I'll talk to you next time.